Hello, hello. Welcome to this week's Profit Maximizer Moment. Sorry about the late start. A little computer problem exaggerated by human error. If you really want to screw things up, use a computer, but I can do pretty well by myself. Anyways, today we're going to talk about why cutting expenses is not a growth strategy. All right. Um, we all run into it. I've run into it. Every business I've ever talked to has run into it. All of a sudden your checkbook is light and your bills are heavy. And what's going to come in, you don't think is going to be enough to cover it. So what do? Well, just about everybody, and I've been guilty of this too. We stop spending. We cut the things that we shouldn't. Marketing usually goes first. Software purchases, hiring the right people. One of the biggest mistakes I've made, among many, not hiring a coach when I should have. Um, Hiring the person I can afford rather than the person I need. That happens. I've done that one. Not paying myself what I deserve or at all. All right. Um, that's normal. That's just the way we think. Okay. We got to get rid of things. That's just, it's what we do. Cash is low, so we contract. It's as simple as that. But problem on your personal, that might work because you're getting a paycheck, and that's what we grew up knowing. That's what most of our parents were doing. I'd say less than 5% of the business owners I run into, their parents were business owners. Okay, it's so you grew up watching your parents. Their income came in real steady. It was a paycheck. Things something happened, an unexpected bill, or the credit cards got out of hand. So what they do, they cut. Problem in business is that doesn't work because, like I said, that's not a growth strategy. That's a panic strategy. It's really that simple. Um, it really what you got to do is not just take the scissors to it, but figure out what is actually causing the problem and bring clarity to it. All right. In my book and what I did on the course, we talk about part of the product, cash, you know, controlling your cash, what to do when you're in an emergency. Yeah, you got to react. But very little of what I put in there, or very little of what I teach, is about cut things that are, because they don't really work. So, but it does feel like progress, doesn't it? All right. Why? Well, let's say I have a $200 subscription for a software I use, or you're renting a tool that makes your life easier, and I cut it right away. I save 200 bucks. That's how my brain thinks. Problem is, that's not how it works. It really doesn't work that way. It's as simple as that. Um, Look, I've been doing this for 40 plus years, and sadly getting close to 50 plus years. Wow. And like I said, I've made all these mistakes. I'm not picking on anybody. This is just common, normal human reaction to scarcity. It's that simple. But what happens? All right, you cut marketing. Hey, I saved money. I had this discussion earlier this week. We cut our marketing, and we did. Yeah, sometimes you do it to test, which is what they did, but it's not the way I would have tested. But neither here nor there. And 6 months later, we could see the dip. It can be a small dip. They had other things going for them. They had returning customers and everything. Uh, but still, you could see it. In other cases, it can be catastrophic, like contractors. You stop doing the marketing part. All of a sudden the pipeline is empty, or pretty darn close to empty 6 months later. So now you've taken a small problem and made it 10 to 20 times worse, even on the verge of having to close, lay people off, get rid of your building, sell everything you can. Now you've taken the problem and made it a disaster. Okay. Um, Same thing. You got a contractor that's helping you, or an employee is helping you, and you let him go. Well, the problem is now you're working, fulfilling what you're doing. You're not out selling. All right. And you're not strategically planning your business to figure out what it is how you should structure your business so that the profits are there and the sales are there. All right. Simple as that. Um, Very common one. Stop paying yourself. Well, how long are you willing to work for free? It starts to get on you. All right. I mean, I've lived through it, so I understand. The first 12 years, I didn't make as much as I did in the job I quit to start my business. After a while, it's like, what the hell am I doing? I mean, not only am I not making what I would have made there, I'm not making what the increases I would have had, and jobs I could have taken. So that starts to get in your head, and you got to be very careful about that. Really, the reason you went into business, let's be honest about it, is to give yourself a comfortable lifestyle, maybe even an exorbitantly comfortable lifestyle. There's no nothing wrong with that. I mean, you're putting in the time and the risk and the strategy and the thought. All right, so you really need to think about it. I've never seen a business though cut its way to growth. That's not how it works. I've seen plenty of businesses cut their way to closing because of the things we just discussed. All right. So that doesn't mean you don't run your business lean. I'm a strong believer in that. Okay. It's kind of like there's things I teach when we're doing time management that a project will expand to the amount of time I give it. A business expense will expand to the amount of money I give it, guaranteed, because you're not running lean. All right. Um, Lean is intentional. All right. That means you're looking at every daughter. Yeah, my daughter spends money well. You're looking at every dollar, one of them. Anyways, well, they both do pretty well. They take after dad, unfortunately. You're looking at every dollar and trying to decide how is this dollar bringing profit? What's the purpose behind this? All right. Scared is a reaction. Scared means something spooked you and now you're slashing. Now understand, I'm reviewing my expenses and I'm looking at, let's say, reallocating $500 from this software tool or whatever and put it into marketing. That's an intentional decision. It's not, I canceled everything because I was afraid next month would look bad. All right. But it's not just that. You're looking at it and you have to make a decision. What is it I'm trying to do? Is okay. Understand. Okay. I ask people ask me, should I hire this employee or should I invest in this $300,000 piece of equipment that's really going to save me a lot of money? And the question is very simple. There's only two reasons that you hire somebody or you make an investment in equipment. One, it's going to lead to profit. All right. I'm going to hire this person because it's going to help me. I'm going to be able to free up my time so I can do more coaching, or it's going to help me because it's going to free up my time so I can actually go out and sell or start a new product or whatever. I'm going to get this piece of equipment because it does the job much faster so that I can actually bid a job at a lower price than my competition can because they're doing it all by hand. All right. Things like that. That's being intentional. I said there was two reasons. What's the second reason? Well, the second reason to hire somebody to get a piece of equipment is to make your life easier so you don't work as hard. All right. I hear the complaint, and I've said it, been there, done that. It's taken me, 30 plus years, 35 plus years to get my business to where I'm running it rather than it running me. And I'm not reacting, I'm actually planning. All right. So, don't, I'm a little slow sometimes, but I always was trying to improve to this point. And now I've learned a lot of lessons. I always joke if I could go back 30 years and start the firm again, I could get back where I'm at now in a third of the time. And I've heard business owners say this all the time. But there's nothing wrong with saying, okay, I'm working too hard. I want to be able to take some time off. It's nothing wrong with that. It's the same reason why I tell people, well, you're working real hard. Get somebody to clean the pool for you. Get somebody to do the landscaping. You're turning dollars into saving time. So that's the only two reasons that make sense. All right. And everything you spend and everything you're thinking about spending should be looked at through those two reasons. It's as simple as that. Remember, making smart decisions on how I'm going to make, like going back to the $500 I'm taking out of one place to put into marketing, that's a strategy. Just cutting, that's just panic in response to a budget. All right. Now, like I said, sometimes you're really hurting, and there are some things you can do. If you're in that position, go to my website. Let's see, I got it here somewhere, waynebelisle.com/clarity. Spelled out clarity, CL. Well, now I don't remember how to spell CLARITY. Wow. Glad, I hope none of my prior English teachers are listening to me mess that up. Anyways, yeah, schedule a call. We'll do a 30-minute call, and I can look at things and tell you how to quickly help you get the cash right now for the short-term problem you have. That won't fix the long-term problem, not even close. So, I mean, yeah, fine. Make sure you can pay payroll next month, make your mortgage payment. Let's do some of these quick fixes. And then you got to dig in and see what the problem is and come up with a strategy. All right. Running lean, like I said, is a strategy. Running scared is a reaction. Look the same. Somebody looking from the outside, they look the same, but the results are completely different, and the mindset is completely different. And it stops having that strategic look. Gets rid of some of the panic that we have. That, oh my gosh, I'm going to end up on the street. I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to have to close down my business. Everybody's going to be mad at me, and I'm going to be living on the street. I hear that. I was like, I never see it, because if to get to that point where they came to us, we can help. All right. One of the books that I mentioned last week, and I have it back here, and it's going to be part of my course, is called Profit First. And it's a really good way of thinking things differently. I talked about this last time. You take out your profit, you take out your taxes, and you force the expenses to live on what's left. All right. Now, when cash is tight, the owner grabs scissors because that's the only lever they can think of. With profit first, the revenue comes in, gets allocated quickly, profits get protected, owner pay gets protected, taxes get protected, and then the expenses get what's remaining. If expenses are too high, you catch that right away because you don't have enough expenses. Not when I do the tax return 6 months, a year later, not when you finally get a financial statement, and not when you run out of cash. That last one's the problem. All right. So that kind of attitude where you're taking revenue, profit, and taxes out and making sure you're paying yourself first gives you a very early, like, wow, something's wrong here. So instead of going, what can I cut? You're asking a different question, like, where's the money actually going, and where's it coming from? And where do I want it to come from? Not enough's coming in, maybe. It's going to be one of two things. One of three, actually, because it's going to be your sales aren't high enough. All right. So you got it. And I've seen this. You have overhead that's way too high for the sales you're generating. You just have to cut. You have to rethink your strategy. All right. And not necessarily cut, but rethink your strategy. Maybe you've got a big old retail space, but you've had it for 10, 15 years, where retail's coming back. Everybody's going to Amazon or Walmart delivery or Costco or whatever. You got to rethink your strategy. Doesn't mean you have to shut it down. You have to rethink your strategy. And that early cash flow warning gives you time to fix that strategy. All right. Um, I get off on tangents. Sometimes I forget where I'm going. So bear with me when I look down. Now, when I said there was three things, once I figure out that sales isn't the problem, then there's two places you're going to look. It's that simple. Every financial statement I look at for a business, I add two things up: the cost of goods sold and their payroll, and all the related items to payroll taxes, and whatever else you have. Having to buy equipment, having more room you need, and those are going to be anywhere from 70 to 90% of every dollar you bring in. If you sell a product, 50 to 60%, 40 to 60% if you're in a service industry. I mean, I've sat down, I do this with one client, BK Medical. I've talked about them before. They're smart. They meet with us quarterly. We go over it. I go over the top 8 or 9 expenses, and they add up to 99% of all their expenses. So everything else adds up to 1%. But people will spend more time arguing about the phone bill than they will about looking at the top 8 or 9 items, especially the top two. So if you're going to have a problem, it's usually because of lack of efficiency. So you have too many people. And that's because you usually don't have systems in place. We're not going to talk about that today because that's just a different subject. Um, if operating expenses are too tight, that's using my system and what we're talking about here. You don't panic, you adjust intentionally. All right. So profit first does not tell you to stop spending. It tells you the truth about where your money is going. Once you see it, you can manage it. Simple as that. All right. Remember, we're going to close with this. I've said it before 2 or 3 times. I'm going to say it a fourth or fifth time, whatever I'm saying. Cutting expenses is not a growth strategy. It's not even a survival strategy, even though you feel like you're in survival mode. It's really a slow, steady, sometimes quickly move towards extinction of your business, or getting it to a point where you're so tired of it that you just want to close it or sell it or whatever. All right. The real fix is a system that protects your profit before expenses get to vote and expand. All right. survival. Sorry, it's also going to show you the truth about where your money's going. That's key. So if you're in survival mode for a while, that's not a failure. I've been there. I told you I've been there. That is a signal that the system needs to change. So now it's a mindset thing. All right. You either have to admit that you're part of the problem, or you have to and adjust, or you can. And I see it. It's the economy. It's my employees. I can't get good employees. The competition's too tough. Somebody else moved in. Those are excuses. Sorry, that's the truth. We all have competition. We all are getting the same employees. Why do your competitors have better employees than you? What are you doing differently? All right. The economy is bad for everybody. Sometimes a bad economy is good for you if you know how to adjust. All right. So look, if this is where you are right now, cutting and hoping, like I said before, go to my website, grab a 30-minute clarity call, what I call a profit clarity call. Get your real numbers, and you'll leave knowing exactly what your business can actually afford. Not going to pitch it, just clarity. If I happen to be if you want to work with me, that's cool. If you don't, I got plenty of work. So, but I love to help people. So if I can, that's fine. Remember, the link is Wayne Belisle. You see it right here on the screen, WayneBelisle.com/clarity. Let's see if I can spell it this time. I'll look down so I can cheat. CLARITY. Hey, until next time, this is Wayne Belisle saying have a great week. Happy Easter. This is the Holy Week, so this is a fantastic week for Christians and Catholics all over the world. So have a great Easter. Enjoy. Uh, See you later. Let's make this our most profitable year ever. God bless. See you at church. Take care. Bye. And we're out of here.